Okay, let's talk about a TV series entitled Columbo, and a series of books were written, adapted from the TV series. So this is an article by Martin Stellinger entitled Picking Apart the Columbo Formula. Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with Columbo, but it was a long-running TV series about a very interesting detective. So the article goes on to say, do you remember Peter Falk as the rumpled detective Columbo? I used to watch this show a lot as a kid. It's not your classic whodunit, but a so-called inverted detective show that showed the murderer at the beginning of each episode. Let's take it apart. An inverted detective is not, as you might think, a detective hanging upside down. No, it's a detective story that doesn't focus on who did it, but how they were caught. Each episode of Columbo started with showing a murder being committed, then spent the rest of the episode showing how the slightly awkward detective Columbo caught the murderer. Usually he had just one more question, until the murderer was unmasked or simply cracked from the pressure. The trick of this genre is in the tension. Tension is created by the audience feeling emotionally invested in a character and what they do. One way to do this is by giving the audience secret information that a character doesn't have, and then having the character's success or failure depend on this exact piece of information. This plays on our deeply ingrained social need. In this case, the audience knows who the murderer is, but the detective doesn't and can only succeed in finding out that information. Interestingly enough, the inverted detective story doesn't differ much from the traditional whodunit. The plot still revolves around the discovery of the specifics of how a crime was committed. But instead of the climax focusing on how the crime was committed, it focuses on the villain getting caught. Okay, so that's our little piece on Columbo. Take a look at the attached video from his program. That's my specialty, Homicide.